NBA Finals roll on tonight, though, Game 6. And besides Chris Paul's interaction with Scott Foster, maybe switching it up in the pregame, maybe a little nod and a wink as opposed to a scowl and a glare. But what else can Phoenix do to switch things up to try to get this series back to a Game 7?
Well, their defensive struggles have been maybe the most perplexing over the last 3 games. This team came in to these finals playing the second-best defense in the playoffs right behind Milwaukee. And if you look at the numbers, half-court transition, whatever, they've just collapsed over these last few games. Some of that, I think, can be attributed to DeAndre Ayton just being stretched way too long in these games. I mean, an underrated aspect or variable in these finals is the Dario Saric injury. And that injury limited Monty Williams to really 8 guys because he doesn't trust Frank Kaminsky. And you see Ayton out there. I think it was 39 minutes in Game 3, 45 in Game 5. He's having to play a lot of minutes, and I think they have to find a way in this game, even if it's potentially hurtful in the short term, of getting him out of there and playing somebody, be it Kaminsky or somebody else, to just make sure Ayton is fresh for that fourth quarter. So that to me is, Chris Paul's the obvious guy to watch. Does he play better against this Jrue Holiday defense? But for me, Ayton and that Suns defense is the biggest question.
Chris, the biggest question we had in the studio was how did the guy who was counting money make his money in the stands? How did he get the money in his pocket that night? How much money did he have? One of the great moments of the NBA Finals was that the money shot. Talk to me a little bit about some of the other great moments in the finals and where they are historically in terms of, Giannis's block and just sort of the coronation of Giannis and this performance.
I mean, I think the block, if the Bucks finish off this series tonight or Game 7, will live in infamy. I mean, we remember the LeBron block in large part because they won that series, right? Like, if they had lost, we probably wouldn't remember it as strongly. If the Bucks close this out, that block is going to be replayed over and over again in the pantheon of those great finals moments. Because just like LeBron, there's probably not 2 or 3 players in basketball that can do that, to both have the ability to step out on a screener or on the roll and then get back and block a shot of a 7-footer at the rim. So that to me is just a signature moment. Giannis has had a couple, of course, some big scoring nights early, that dunk at the end of Game 5. But, that block, I say a couple of guys could do it. Maybe there's nobody that could do it. I mean, Giannis is just so genetically gifted and so skilled defensively that he might be the only player ever, be able to pull that off.
Chris Mannix joins the show, the Crossover Podcast, and, of course, Sports Illustrated. Ben Lyons in for Rich on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's play this out, Chris. Phoenix loses tonight. Milwaukee wins. How does that impact Chris Paul's future and where he might play next season?
Well, people around Chris Paul have told me that they'd like to get something done with Phoenix. Now, this is probably Chris's last contract. It's kind of amazing we're even saying that, since 2 years ago we were talking about the contract being an albatross around the neck of whatever team gets him. But he's in line for a 3-year, $100 million-ish contract in his next deal that'll take him right around 39 years old. And look, Chris didn't just get traded to Phoenix. He wanted to be there. He scouted that situation. He knew Monty Williams. He believed in Devin Booker. So I think and look, he still lives in L.A., so it's a short hop for him to get there. So I think there's momentum to get a deal done for around 3 years, one way or the other, whether it's opting in and extending, opting out and a new deal, one way or the other. I think there's some momentum there. The wild card, though, is Robert Sarver. I mean, that roster is going to get expensive. Does Robert Sarver have it in him to just say, look, we got to give this guy a blank check. Whatever he wants, we've got to give him, because if we don't, everything we've gained over the last calendar year gets wiped away. I mean, Cameron Payne's been incredible, but you don't want to go into next season with Cameron Payne as your starting point guard. You need Chris Paul to continue to build on what they've accomplished this season. So if I was a betting man, I'd say it gets done one way or the other. But Sarver, who doesn't have a tremendous track record, he is a variable.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.